Hello there, good to see you again. Um, Flemington Hallside Parish Church Minister Ian Cathcart. This thought for the day, we've just been doing it since lockdown. And if you haven't really visited, it's when I say it's nothing special, it's reflection on what God wants us to do, how Christians should respond to lockdown, or sometimes it's really just if you're not a Christian, but it's weird times and you're considering all kinds of stuff, then it's just hopefully for everyone. Um, One of the things that you find, there are times when it's like a newspaper article and it's something that's happened in the world and that'll make my mind go in a certain direction. Sometimes, sometimes it's stuff in this family or stuff in my head or my reaction. And I realise when it's that, I never come out of it very well. um, you know how the idea that somebody would do as a thought for the day something along the lines of, now, ladies and gentlemen, jealousy is a bad thing. It's not really good, not the right way to think, and it doesn't do you any good either. That's kind of like, as the Americans would say, duh. And yeah, jealousy is not a good thing. Being envious of somebody else. Um, but it's always important to bear in mind, just to kind of make a mental note of when you are envious of somebody else, because the thing that's much more important, and it's much more important to identify, and it's actually harder to identify, what idols do you have in your life? And because most people don't go into the back room and have a wee shrine and they have ancestor worship every Thursdays and twice on Tuesday, because there's not that kind of idols. Um, I mean, if it is, then clearly you have bigger problems. But the point is recognizing the things that make you jealous give you an indication of things that you perhaps need to take account of when maybe you're trying to kind of work out, where is the stuff in my life that I really need to be addressing because um, it shouldn't be taking the kind of premier place that it is. Let me stop talking in the abstract and be quite specific. All the lockdown stuff I find relatively easy. I would probably quite like to go out for a meal, but if I can, then I can. And the fact that nobody else can, well, we're all in the same boat. Um, I quite like reading books, the stuff on the TV. I kind of, I don't find it some huge constraint. There's people in this house, so I'm not absolutely on my own. And so there's been times when I have to recognize I need to try and support and address the issues that folks have as concerns and issues during lockdown. I realize I personally, um, I don't feel I can come on to this or indeed say to anybody else how horrible my life is. Um, but one of the things I realize is when you see somebody do something that you can't do because you're following the rules, and you suddenly realize they've just ignored the rules, or in that part of the world, the rules have suddenly changed. And I look at them and think, well, I think the normal thing, that's not fair. I quite like going to kind of castles and museums and galleries and, you know, history stuff. And so when Dominic Cummings went to, what was it, Barnard Castle to test his eyesight, I recognised, one, it made me angry, but two, it made me jealous. Because I can't do that, because that's against the rules. And he could. And it really didn't sit well with me. I didn't, you know how when people preach on this, it's kind of like, and you, if you find yourself anxious or angry, you hand it over to God. I didn't really want to. I wanted to hand Dominic Cummings over to God. That's what I really wanted to do. And I recognised I was angry about it because I was jealous that he got to do it and I didn't. Now, amidst everything else, when you look at that in the cold light of day, I don't think God is actually saying, yes, you have righteous moral indignation and you should. I think what he's actually saying is maybe, maybe the various things that you go and visit, the galleries and the ruins and the castles and the museum, maybe that features a wee bit too much, more than it should. And yesterday, something happened. I found myself thinking in a certain way. Um, some of you might know um, there are one or two occasions, 1 or 200 occasions um, in the past few years when I have, shall we say, uh, gone to the pictures because I really like the pictures. I like going to the cinema. I like watching stuff on TV and if you can see good film, that's great. But the idea that I could never go to the cinema and I haven't been able to do that for the whole of lockdown, you suddenly think, alongside all the other things that people are having to sacrifice, not a big deal. But then yesterday, I found it was in one of the states in the US. I've forgotten which state. Really wasn't caring. I just knew it wasn't here. The states had opened up the stuff that I still can't quite understand. Hairdressers and the place where you get your nails done. Clearly, not a big issue for me. But the thing was, they opened the cinemas, and they then went into detail about the degree to which you had to observe social distancing inside the cinema. And I suddenly recognised one, I'm really jealous. I really, I really would like to go to the pictures. And the thing, I'm having this, those kind of times when it's Ur Willie in a Sunday Post, and you get a wee angel on one side and a wee devil on the other, and these two, the devil version of Ur Willie is debating with the angel version of Ur Willie, and it's like, go on, do it. And no, William, you mustn't. I had one of those kind of conversations, and it's like, this is really rotten. I just want to go with the pictures. And I recognize it's at those points when you've totally bought into the reality, necessity, and need for lockdown. I think um, I understand that people are bored and I understand that they're isolated. I understand that, there are mental health issues. All the issues with regard to lockdown, I recognize it's having a real impact. But in my head, at least not your Willie, but, my wee devil saying, be really good to go at the pictures though, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? And I'm sharing that. Like I said, I don't come out of it particularly well, but you realize those are the things that indicate where your idols are. Where what is it that makes you think, I know it's the rules and I shouldn't do it? But there's that wee still small voice, and it's not God. It's that, go on, William, go on, Willie, do it. Because you're really tempted, because you suddenly recognise, yeah, it is breaking the rules. But Dominic can do it and get away with it, then why can't I? And you realise those are the times where you've suddenly spotted. God is actually giving you a wee gift, saying, see how your mind works. See how you know in your head all the things that you shouldn't do, because Nicola has made it perfectly clear. And you should do it for all the right reasons, to protect other people so you don't pass on the virus. But there's that wee voice in saying, go on, do it. And I find it that if I'm worried, basically, if the cinemas were open, I'd be there, knowing full well it was wrong, but doing it anyway. And you just think, that's strange. Anyway, I wanted to finish off with two verses. This is James chapter 3, verse 16. Where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there will be disorder in every vile act. You don't need to have this just in lockdown. When you suddenly think, what would actually motivate you to do stuff that you know is wrong? But for that particular thing, the voice in your head says, go on, do it. That's when you know you're dealing with an idol. This is Proverbs 14, verse 30. A tranquil heart gives life to the flesh, but envy makes the bones rot. It's like so many of those philosophical kind of books in the Old Testament, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Job, they kind of reflect and think and examine. That would be good to do during lockdown. That would be good because at the end of it, you would recognize I do have things in my life that I can bend the rules because it's not that bad. But it is. What are those in your life? You definitely know what they are in mine. That's not the issue. The issue is, what are they in your life? Go with God. Because whatever your idols are, I'm quite sure God still goes with you, trying to point them out to you and saying, are your bones rotting and you don't even know it? Good to see you again. Go with God, because I know He goes with you.